Hello and welcome to the Story Behind the Stories, your weekly look at the pages of the Neepawa Banner Press. I'm Eoin Devereux, news and sports reporter with the Banner Press. I'm joined this week by Kira Paterson. Kira, good to have you in this week.
Yep, it feels like a deja vu, except kind of a mirror image of last week.
It's a Vuja Day then.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I think that's a thing.
Yeah, we'll make it a thing. And this week we are here to share with you a whole lot of unique and interesting local goings-on that we were able to track down and put in print. Mm-hmm. And let's start off with a very good news story. I always like to be able to share these types of things, and you were able to track this one down, and it's regards to some local movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, this was a really exciting story because it feels like it has been literally forever since the Roxy has been able to open. So our front page story this week is the great news that they are planning an opening date, and that date is going to be October 1st. So yeah, it was just really exciting. I was so glad when Kate reached out and let us know that this was happening and that we could share it with the world because it is really exciting. It's been over a year, I think a year and a half.
Yep. The world and Neepawa and everywhere in between.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, everybody's going to be excited for this. So yeah, it's been, I think literally a year and a half since they've been able to be open. So it has been a really long time. They've done a few things like popcorn sales. They've been able to do some private rentals and that kind of a thing, but they haven't been able to put a movie on the big screen and let the masses come. So it's going to be really exciting. As of right now, we are still kind of waiting on some restrictions to be announced that were kind of hinted at earlier this week. But as of right now, what we know, they are going to be able to have 50% capacity, and they're going to be able to pretty much be almost back to normal, but just 50% capacity. They'll ask people to wear masks until they're seated, unless that changes too, and all that kind of a thing. So it's just really exciting. They've also got a few other events planned leading up to it. They have an open house on September 1st, so exactly a month before they're opening. They're hoping to get some more volunteers, hoping to show off their bathroom upgrades, because they did bathroom upgrades while they were closed, and some other renovations and new additions and stuff like that. So definitely check out the story, and definitely make sure you check out their open house on September 1st so that you can get the lowdown on what it's going to be like going back to the theater after so long.
That's right, Kira. And as you said, the mask mandates, as everyone is probably aware of, are back. Mm-hmm. They are required in all public places, and there's going to be certain restrictions in there. Mm-hmm. I just wanted to show this off to sort of refresh your memory. Technically, this studio is not really a public place per se, mm-hmm. so I can get away with this. So, but it is going to be back in terms of requirement. Mm-hmm. So anyone who maybe took the mask off and was enjoying that, you will have to put them back on when you go to the stores and all that. Don't be a jerk about it. This isn't the rules that the people working the cashiers' desks and all that and counters put in there. It's government rules. It is what it is. Mm-hmm. And the same thing with the movie theater as well. Yeah. We're going to get an opportunity to go to movies locally. Mm-hmm. That's how long, when's the last film you remember going to see there?
At the Roxy? Oh gosh. Maybe the war film 1917, maybe. That's the last one I can remember. And that was probably the winter, like December 2019, yep. Possibly.
That was, it came out December 2019.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh God, I'm worse off. The last film I think I saw at the Roxy Theater, I think may have been Ant-Man.
Oh my goodness.
And I think that was 2015.
That could be, I don't even remember.
But I have bought popcorn there a time or
yep.
two. And yep. Kira, you were keeping them running for a while there. You kept buying popcorn whenever they had that sale going.
Yeah, well, Kay, she's on the board. She works in the office here, and she was always like, hey, Kira, just so you know, there's a popcorn sale this week. I was like, okay, I'm ready. I'll buy some.
And there's just something about the oil or whatever they use, the machinery they use. It's just so much better.
So good. Mm-hmm.
It really is.
Way better than microwave popcorn, for sure, yeah.
Yeah. And again, if you're looking forward to going and checking out some movies at the Roxy, remember it is volunteer operated. Mm-hmm. So go out there and support them in any way you can, because you don't want to take it for granted. A small town like Neepawa, really almost shouldn't have a movie theater, but it's the dedication and hard work of a lot of individuals that has made that a reality. So let's not let it disappear again. It disappeared to a degree because of COVID, but let's not let it disappear for any reason whatsoever.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you can find that story. It starts off on the front page, continues on to page A11. Another story that continues on to page A11, but it starts on A2. Oh, spoiler, we got 2 sections this week. But it's a story I tracked down. It's pretty much the only story I tracked down. I got lazy this week. I don't know what happened. But what's the big idea? Another event that is going to be going on that had to take the hiatus because of the restrictions with COVID-19 throughout 2020. It is an entrepreneurial event. Business ideas you can bring forward to a Dragon's Den style judging competition. Marilyn Crew, the economic development officer with the town of Neepawa, has really spearheaded that and has really led the way on that. I had an opportunity to speak with her about that. She is very excited to be able to bring this back. It's an opportunity for young, well, actually not even young, I shouldn't say that, but aspiring entrepreneurs and business people, no matter the age, no matter the demographic, to sort of showcase their ideas in front of people who can actually help turn them into reality, or if they're already reality, to make them even bigger and better. And this year it is going to be bigger and better. About $40,000 in terms of grants and prizes will be available, including potentially, this is not on 100%, but potentially for the right business, a very good prominent spot, a lot in the industrial area in Neepawa where you can establish your business. It depends on the business, of course. If you don't need a storefront, then you don't need the lot. But they'll figure that out. They'll work that out. So it's a very exciting opportunity. That alone, I think, is almost worth $30,000 in terms of value.
Yeah.
So it's a big deal. So, but it's really, and Kira, you've covered it over the years. You've done previews on what's the big idea over the years. It's really just developed and blossomed into something significant, hasn't it?
It's really cool. Even from the first year, I think I covered it the first year, and I actually went to the event itself. And seeing it over the past years kind of evolve, it gets bigger, there's more support for it. There continues to be lots of businesses interested, or aspiring businesses interested in getting in there and making their presentations. And there's always so many different ones too. It's not just like a bunch of restaurants or a bunch of clothing stores or something like that. There's always so many different things and very unique things. And it's really cool when you can see a business there that's just getting their start up, and then a few months later, a year later, you see it's a physical store or a physical location, and they're selling stuff and they're doing well. It's really cool. There's quite a few businesses that have kind of gotten a bit of a start there or gotten a boost there and are continuing to be successful to this day. So it's really an important event, I think, in developing the community, not just of Neepawa, but they've also partnered with Minnedosa in the past. They accept entrepreneurs from all over kind of our area, so Gladstone, Minnedosa, Eden, Brookdale, Carberry. I think that they were planning to actually host one in Carberry last year possibly, but that was the one that got canceled, I think. Don't quote me on that, but that just an idea popped into my head. I thought that I heard that, but I could be wrong. But yeah, so it's really blossomed into a huge event. It's really cool to see all the different businesses. And if you are an aspiring business, definitely get in touch with Marilyn, because even if you don't know where to start, she can help you figure out how to present your idea and how to make it into a business plan so that it's actually eligible for like these prizes and the support from even just the networking part of it, right?
That's right. And again, don't feel like just because you're not in Neepawa proper that you are not, as Kira said, you're not allowed to be a participant in this. Individuals in Minnedosa and in our surrounding area can contact as well in regards to talking to Marilyn about that and maybe seeing what can happen with that. The worst thing that can happen is like, no, that's maybe out of our catchment area, that's a little out of our reach. That's the worst thing that can happen. It's better to know than it is to go what if. So make the call. And you can find the contact information in the story right at the end, final paragraph, the contact information and the email. If you're interested, if you have an idea, a concept for a business, this is the way to go about it. It's done very well over the years. About 34, if I remember correctly, different businesses over this entire time have benefited and have blossomed and developed from it. For up to $48,000 worth of grants, cash, prizes over those years. And as I said, every year it seems to be getting bigger and better. So looking very much forward to sort of checking that out and seeing how it continues to develop from its humble beginnings. All right, let's talk a little more about things that are opening up and things that are going to be available to the public again. We seem to have a very specific sort of genre we're covering this week.
It's
here.
a theme this week, yeah.
That's right. This third in a row now. Third in a row. Let's keep this ball rolling, or in this case, let's keep that puck sliding right along the ice. The recently installed ice at the Yellowhead Arena. It is great to have watched the process there. Mike Spees, who is the maintenance manager with the Yellowhead Center, along with several volunteers, put in the ice, which is a time-consuming process. It takes a few days. You got to put down the ice. You got to wait for it to settle. You got to put down some more, and just it's layer upon layer upon layer. That's the weird thing here. It's like all these layers that you're putting down, but it's still only like that much. A little tiny, little small bit.
Yeah. Well, when you see the layer, it's basically just like, we're just gonna wet surface, and then that's a layer, right?
Yeah. The funny thing is, though, is just in between when they've got the ice down and they start to paint it, because if you're unfamiliar, that beautiful white color that all the ice is, that's not natural, you know. It's painted over. And you can see the pictures actually in the paper this week. It gives a clear indication from start to finish exactly how the process is done. That is on page A9, and it's so fascinating just to watch. But I did have to bring out my jacket for the first time really since the winter, because the Yellowhead's already a little nippy. It's a little cool. It's a little chilly, but that's great. It's going to be fun to be able maybe to cover hockey again and to check out the figure skating and all the events that go on all the time at the Yellowhead. That's something as well that has been sorely missed, I think.
Yeah. There's gonna be a large contingent of the community that are really excited for the arena to open again this year.
You know what's going to be interesting as well? This is your sneak peek. You can see it on page A9 of the Banner Press. But obviously with the Junior A hockey team changing its name, and Neepawa Minor Hockey as well has followed suit, and they're going consistent as well. Everybody's going to be Titans, even the tiny players, Tiny Titans, are going to be out there.
It's awesome.
Yep. So they've changed the logo on center ice, and they did something really smart. In previous years, it was really nice that they did it hand painted, but it is time consuming. So the Indian Head logo that they would have at center ice would always be hand painted. This year, they actually ordered, it's almost like a little clear, almost like a clear plastic sheet. And they put it down, and they smooth it out, and then they put water all over it. They smooth it out, and then it comes in two sections. And you can sort of see one of the pictures in there. That's why you're going to have to pick up a hard copy of the Banner Press, or check it out on mywestman.ca, because for me to do something like this, you can't really see it. You got to see it a little bit closer. So that's why you got to go out and about and get yourself a hard copy of the Banner Press and see for yourself the process that they went through to actually get this up and operational. And it was a real time saver, because I got the phone call that they were putting the logo down. I was figuring, okay, I got some time. It'll be fine. It'll be easy. You know, they're probably just doing the tracing right now. I go down there, I get there, it's already half done, and it's like, oh wow, okay, they're legit. They're not messing around this year. And it really, the thing is, Kira, as well, is it really does look better as well. It just looks clean and crisp, and
Yeah, it's very sharp. And it's a lot less time consuming. I have to admit, it is cool to watch as they would do the step by step, the different layers of colors and outlines and stuff when they did the old logo by hand. But this, a huge time saver. It looks clean and crisp. It probably is so much easier for them. They're probably so relieved that they didn't have to paint every single little detail on it.
Yeah.
So it looks really good, and it's exciting to see that coming together.
That goes as well for the advertising that is actually on the ice as well. There are several sponsors that actually have their logos and whatnot actually placed on the ice as well. If I'm 100% honest, not quite as many as you'd see in Portage, or you definitely see in Verdun. Verdun's ice rink is it's completely covered with sponsors.
Really?
Everywhere.
Wow.
It's like it looks like a European soccer jersey or a European hockey jersey where
Wow.
But and you should sponsor the team. You should support the arena. Not only because it's good to help out locally, but because you're going to be seen not only locally, but you're going to be seen provincially. You're going to be seen nationally, because the Neepawa Titans broadcast every single game, every single home game they have, right here on NAC TV. And as you know, NAC TV is nationwide, in the very least, most likely one or two other places you're able to get it online on the internet. But people from the Maritimes contact NAC TV and talk about the shows, the programs they see. People from Alberta. So if your business wants to get seen, maybe that's the place to see it. Or maybe you want to sponsor the story behind the stories.
Have little banners running across the bottom the whole time.
Yep. Or actually, we can start wearing soccer jerseys with advertising all over them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds fun.
Oh, yeah. But that's what's going on. Everything seems to be opening up again. Despite some of we touched on it a little bit during the Roxy story. There are some changes coming to the provincial mandates when it comes to COVID-19. They were announced earlier this week. One of the most glaring ones that we're all going to notice is, of course, the mask mandate, which we did discuss earlier. But it also affects a lot of government workers as well. They're going to be mandated that they do have to be vaccinated.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and that includes teachers, EAs, anybody who works in schools. So even if it's not like, because you think, oh, government people, that's people based in Winnipeg, but that also includes people that work at the hospitals, people that work at the schools, people that work at any government-run place, which we do have in Neepawa and surrounding communities. So it does affect people in the area as well.
That's going to be very interesting discussion as well, I think, because there are still people who are a little, they're iffy on the whole thing about the vaccines and about the shots and all that. They're out there, and that's, I'm at the point right now of beyond arguing. It is what it is with those individuals. You just got to take care of you and yours as best you can. But again, I mean, when it comes to your job, there's certain requirements you got to do. For us example, you got to show up.
Yeah. Usually.
Yep. And another example, you got to sit in these chairs. So
yeah, sometimes.
I would much rather be taking a nap right now compared to everything else in my job, but I can't do that because that's not right. And you shouldn't get paid for napping. But we're here. We're enjoying ourselves for the most part when we got stuff to talk about.
Yep.
And that's the same thing as well with the COVID-19, the government vaccination program. It's interesting as well that as we record this, they haven't come out with some of the other changes they're going to be making, but the feeling is there are going to be a few other changes, so we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah. We do have all the details that were announced on Tuesday in our paper, because that was before the publication deadline. But yeah, we don't know exactly when the mask mandate will be back in place. We don't know exactly what other amenities will need double vaccination to be able to access. So we're hoping that there'll be more details soon, and we'll make sure we have that in the paper next week so that everybody can know about that.
Could it be that, double vaxxed to go to the movie theaters,
it could
go to the Roxy, or double vaxxed to go to the arena?
Yeah, exactly. Some of our stories might be affected by it that are in this week's paper. So
I guess we'll find out. And as soon as we know, we'll make sure that you know as well. let's shift attention now. A story done this week by Casper, and a story that was covered last week by Casper as well. Last week's preview, Ride Like Oli. For those of you that were unable to sort of see last week's show or didn't read the paper, it was, and I don't want to mispronounce it, and I do apologize to the family if I do mispronounce it. Oli Halai?
I think it's Hay.
Hey.
I think.
Okay. Young athlete passed away, unfortunately, 12 years old at the start of July. The family came together and wanted to honor him in some way, and they thought that this was going to be a way to do it. He loved cycling. He did it all the time, so they set up a cycling event. It was based out of Riding Mountain National Park, I believe. So it was a good sort of day for everyone. And they, from what I heard, and what Casper was able to explain to us in the office, they had a certain expectation of what they were going to do, Kira, and they just knocked it out the water, didn't they?
Yeah. So the goal was to get $100 for every kilometer, and they had a 172 kilometer trek. So they were hoping for $17,200, and they, as of the 24th, had gotten more than $27,000. So that's $10,000 more, and still climbing, because they were saying that more stuff had been coming in and people had been reaching out to them. So it's just crazy to see, and there's been donations not only from Manitoba but from across the country, even from as far as places like New Zealand and other countries. Like it's gone worldwide, really. And it's so cool to see that. And for the family, we're so happy for the family to be able to see just how big of an impact their son Oli had made on people, and his story and the inspiration that he has put into people's lives. It's just it's a very feel-good story to be able to find out just how well that ride went.
Yeah, these types of stories are always difficult to share. As a reporter, some people think that reporters don't have feelings or try to be cut off from this, but stories like this affect us just as much as they affect everyone else. They've made the best of a tragic situation, and they've turned it into some betterment for moving ahead. And I hope that you do take a few minutes. Check out Casper's story on that, because this is something we love to be able to share with you when we can. We got a little bit of time, so before we go into the Farmer's Advocate, let's touch base with Ken Waddell and his editorial this week. We don't always check in with Ken. Time sometimes doesn't permit it. We got a little bit of time this time, and he touched on a different perspective: the Progressive Conservative leadership race. And just essentially, he's a little disappointed. It feels more like a coronation as opposed to a competition. There's only two individuals, one officially, that has stepped up. Heather Stephenson, I believe, is the one individual officially who had stepped up. And as of recording here, Sherry Glover, I believe?
Yeah, Glover, I think.
Was considering it and was about 99% sure was going to step in on this. So I guess we'll find out. But Ken said competition makes everyone better, and he felt like that's the same way with the leadership race. The best and the brightest will come out and battle it out, but in a respectful way, he hoped, and be able to bring that party forward with Pallister stepping down. So he's a little disappointed that it's turned into a bit of a meh.
Yeah, like it's not as much of a race and a campaign as it is basically just, okay, this person's stepping down and this person's stepping up, what it seems anyway. But yeah, hopefully there will be a bit of a race, and hopefully the best person for the job will get the job.
And again, there was a lot of talk early on about Eileen Clark, because in a lot of ways, in many ways, she's the one that got this whole snowball rolling downhill facilitating the need for a new leader for the Progressive Conservatives. Clark has stated publicly, though, that she does not endeavor to be the leader of the party and has thrown her support. If I remember correctly, I believe she has formally thrown support behind Stephenson. Yeah, I believe so.
I think so.
Yep,
That sounds right.
yep. So we'll see how that plays out over the next few weeks. Finally, when we got one more section to talk about, every month we do the Farmer's Advocate. Us here at the Neepawa Banner Press do the Farmer's Advocate. It's something we take a little bit of pride in every once in a while. This one, let's be honest with you, this one we're not going to put up on the wall. This is not a highlight reel one for us this month, if we're being quite honest, right, Kira?
Yeah, I have to say though, huge shout out to Joanna Evans, one of our readers. She earlier in the season had sent quite a number of pictures to us to use for our Farmers Advocate sections, and a lot of them were from harvest last year, so we weren't really using them in like February, right? But we figured, okay, well, we'll hold on to these and they'll come in handy, and we have at least 3 of her photos featured in this week, possibly 4. And so huge thank you to Joanna for putting some color and some visual intrigue into our Farmers Advocate section, because I have to be honest, we were not on the ball with this one, so I was very glad that she had sent us some stuff that we could use.
And also Casper Brehan, who did a great sort of perspective over the years of 2 years in Manitoba where drought was stricken the entire province. It was 61 and 36.
36, yeah.
Yep. So they were able to get that done and get that in there. And it really does, it's a unique perspective on how they were dealing with it back in the day.
Yeah, you read through it and you think, oh yeah, that kind of sounds like this year too, doesn't it?
Yep.
So it was interesting to see. Okay, people have survived this before. We will get through it. It just doesn't feel great in the year.
Yeah. And again, don't get us wrong. I mean, there's still a lot of valuable information in this month's Advocate. Story about the federal funding for the Agri-Recovery Program. Some new funding they put in recently. We also talk about farm safety and Ken Waddell's walkthrough on the Southwestern Manitoba Zero Waste Project, a gasification project for the Westman area. You may have seen the story in last week's Neepawa Banner Press, but this week a whole bunch of more pictures of it we got in the Farmer's Advocate. We just didn't have the space to be able to put all those interesting pictures in last week, so we were able to save them and put them in for this week, and that was all right. So there is a little bit of stuff in there that to educate you and to sort of keep us going and keep the farmers in mind.
Yeah, exactly. Keeps us in the loop with some of the things happening in the farm world.
Yeah.
Even if we didn't write them.
Yes. We'll try to do better next month. We promise. And we try to do better each and every week as well. But sometimes we do need a little bit of help, and that's where you come in. If you have any story suggestions for us, we always appreciate them. If you have a letter to the editor, whether you agree or disagree with what we have to say, we'd love to hear as well. Or if you want to send us a thumbs up or thumbs down, that's great too. You can do so by contacting us at news@neepawabanner.com or by the phone at 204-476-3401. It's always appreciated. Even if you do disagree with us, we want to hear conflicting and different opinions on that.
We like a little drama once in a while.
Yeah, just be nice though, But other than that, like I said, advertising as well. If you want to get in touch with us, you can contact us at ads@neepawabanner.com. That does keep the doors open, and I'd like to stick around in Neepawa. It's all right. You got a movie theater, you got an arena, you got an entrepreneur seminar you got going on. This place is happening.
Obviously, yeah.
Yep. But other than that, we'll wrap it up for this week. Kira, always great to have you in here. It's 2 weeks in a row now.
Yeah, I hope I get a break next time.
Yep. And me, I got nowhere else to go. So most likely I will be seeing you again next week when we walk you through all the stories behind the stories. Have a good week.